Hey OK crew, and welcome back to another yoga class. Today we're going to be building upon our sequences one pose at a time, so that the pose and sequence eventually gets more difficult near the end of class, and then finishing with some really nice hip openers and stretches for the glutes, as this will be a little bit more lower body dominant, but don't worry, we're going to make sure to really incorporate upper body and core through our chaturangas in doing planks and push-ups. So it should be nice and well-rounded, but there is a bit more of a focus on lower body. So with that being said, let's all meet in child's pose position. So again, child's pose, your knees can be together, or you can go for a wide-legged position where your knees come out to the width of your mat, toes are together, sinking your hips down towards your heels, and then you can extend your arms out long, or if it's more comfortable for you, you can actually have them down by your sides, looking more like this. So find whatever is most comfortable for you. Let your head rest on the mat in a very passive child's pose. And we'll just take a few breaths here as we do our head to toe body scan to check in with how the body's feeling right now and getting ready for some movement. You get to nod your head left to right, giving a nice little massage to your forehead. Wiggle your toes and your fingers. And then when you're ready, we'll all meet in a tabletop position. Shoulders stacked over top of your wrists, fingers spread nice and wide here. And you can have the toes tucked or untucked, again, kind of whatever feels comfortable or natural for you. And we'll come through a few rounds of cat-cow to warm up the spine. So starting in a neutral spine position, begin to inhale, tilting the tailbone up towards the sky as the belly dips. The chest opens up, head comes up last to come into cow pose. And then on an exhale, the tailbone begins to round underneath, drawing the spine up towards the ceiling, separating your shoulder blades, and your head comes down last. This is cat pose. And inhaling to come through cow. Slow movements. And exhale your way up into cat pose. One last time for both cat and cow. Inhaling to tilt the belly down. And exhaling, drawing the belly up. Meet back in tabletop, neutral spine here, and we'll do the C-spine curve, which we have done before. We'll start with the left side. Draw your left shoulder and left hip together to open up the right side body. And then come back to center, and then draw left shoulder or right shoulder to right hip. And back to center. Left side again. Inhale back to center. Exhale for the right side. Inhale back to center. One more time, both sides. And back to center. Last time on the right side. And back to center. We'll now do some hip circles. So draw your left foot up towards the ceiling, keeping the knee bent. Draw it around in, drawing your knee in towards your nose, and then back down to center. We'll do that 3 more times. Nice fluid movements. And then reverse, going the other direction. And one more time. And we'll all meet back in tabletop and switch to the right side. Again, lifting your foot up towards the ceiling, opening the knee up to the right side wall, drawing knees in towards your nose, back down and around. Fluid motion here. One last time, and then we'll switch directions. One last circle. And return back to your tabletop. We'll all meet at the top of our mat in Tadasana or mountain pose. Heels together, toes together, heels slightly apart. Arms are down by your sides, palms facing open. Take 2 breaths here. On your next inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Your gaze will follow. Exhale to hinge at the hips and forward folds. Place your palms on your shins or just above your knees to push up to flat back. And then return to your forward fold. Head hangs heavy. Keep a bend in your knee as you ragdoll all the way up to stand. Head comes up last, returning to Tadasana. Lift your arms up towards the ceiling and sink your hips down and back into chair pose. Make sure that you can see your toes past your knees. And then forward fold all the way. Come up to flat back. And fall all the way back down to your forward fold. Plant your palms and step your right foot back, followed by your left, into a high plank. You have the option to come down to your knees, and then all together shift weight into your hands, lower down through your push-up, nice, slow, and controlled. Inhale to Cobra or Upward Facing Dog. Exhale, tuck your toes and send your hips up and back into our first Downward Facing Dog. Sweep your right foot up behind you into 3-legged dog and step it between your hands. Your left foot, so your back foot, the heel stays lifted, sweep your arms up overhead into crescent. Slowly lower your hands back down to frame your front foot and step right foot back to meet left. come down through your push-up. Again, you have the option to come from your knees. Inhale through cobra or upward facing dog. And return to downward facing dog. This time, lift your left foot up behind you and step it between your hands, coming back up into crescent lunge. Lower your hands to frame your front foot and step your left foot back to meet your right. Come back down through your push-up. Squeeze your elbows in by your ribs. Inhale to cobra or upward facing dog. And lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. We'll hold this pose here for 5 breaths. Take this as an opportunity to maybe pedal out your feet, sway your hips. Taking any necessary movements to help you relax into the pose. Come up onto your toes, bend your knees, look between your hands and step to the front of your mat into a forward fold. Push up to flat back. Exhale to forward fold. Sink your hips down and back while your arms sweep up overhead, back into chair pose. Inhale, come to stand, palms touch. Exhale, palms to heart center. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, forward fold. Come through to your flat back. Chest is open. Return to your forward fold. Plant your palms and step your left foot back, followed by your right to high plank, high push-up. Option to lower down to your knees, or shift the weight into your hands. Lower all the way through your push-up. Inhale to cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, send your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Sweep your right foot up behind you, step it between your hands, all the way into crescent lunge. Draw your hands into prayer right by your sternum, so in front of your chest. Lean your weight forward, and we're coming into chair pose. So putting the weight into your front leg, your right leg, shift the weight forward to come into chair. And then begin to peel your left foot away from that again to return to our crescent lunge. Come back into chair, so lean your weight forward, step up into chair. And return to crescent. 2 more times. Lean forward into chair. Return to crescent. Prepare to go into chair. And back into crescent. Reach your arms back up towards the ceiling. And then lower your hands to frame your front foot. Right foot steps back to meet left. And lower down through your push-up. Inhale through cobra. Exhale all the way to downward facing dog. This time, sweep your left foot up behind you and step it between your hands. Inhale all the way to crescent lunge. Lower your hands down through prayer. Shift the weight forward as you step all the way up into prayer or into chair pose. Exhale back into crescent lunge. And come back through to chair. Step back to crescent. And step up into chair pose. Step back to crescent. We have one more time after this. Step up through chair. Check to make sure that your knees are not coming over your toes. Last time, back into crescent. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling. And plant your palms either side of your front foot. Step left foot back to meet right. You can lower down onto your knees. And then shift the weight into your hands. Lower down through push-up. Inhale through cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale through to downward facing dog. We'll hold for 5 breaths. On an inhale, come up onto your toes, bend your knees, look between your hands, and step to the front of your mat to forward fold. Push up to flat back. Exhale to forward fold. And on strong legs, sweep your arms up overhead, come to stand. Exhale your hands up, heart center. Take 2 breaths here. At the end of your second breath, reach your arms up overhead, fingertips active as if you're trying to touch the ceiling. And then hinge from the hips to forward fold. Push up to flat back and come down through your forward fold. Plant your palms, step your right foot back, followed by your left to high plank push-up. Option to come down to your knees and then shift the weight into your hands, lower down through your push-up, slow and controlled. On an inhale, come through cobra or upward facing dog. Tuck your toes, send your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Right foot sweeps up behind, step it between your hands, sweep your arms up overhead into crescent. We'll come into warrior 3. So begin to lower your hands down by your sides. Push the weight, rock the weight into your front foot, so your right foot, and then push all the way up into warrior 3. Your back foot is flexed as if you're trying to push your foot into a wall. And try to keep your hips level. With your left leg, so your lifted leg, begin to draw your foot to line up with your right foot. Arms sweep up overhead into chair. And then peel your left foot away from the mat. Step it back into crescent. Do that one more time. Lower your arms down by your sides. Begin to shift the weight into your front foot. Lift up into warrior three. Lower your left foot to meet right. Hands sweep up overhead into chair. Peel your left foot away from the mat. Step it back into crescent lunge. Plant your palms on either side of your foot. Right foot steps back to meet left. We'll hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Option lower down to your knees or come through your push-up. Inhale up to cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale all the way into downward facing dog. Sweep your left foot up behind you and step it between your hands, coming into crescent lunge on the left side. Begin to lower your hands down by your sides. Shift the weight into your front foot, so your left foot this time. Shifting forward, coming all the way in to warrior three on the left side. Back foot is flexed. And keep your hips level here. Slowly draw your right foot down to meet your left. Arms sweep up overhead, coming into chair. Begin to peel your right foot away from the mat, step it all the way back into crescent. We'll do that one more time. Lower your hands down by your sides. Push into your left foot all the way up into warrior three. And then slowly lower your right foot down to meet your left. Arms sweep up overhead, chair pose. Begin to peel your right foot away from the mat, step back into crescent lunge. Lower your hands down to frame your front foot. Step the left foot back to meet your right. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Option lower down to your knees. Shift the weight forward into your hands as you lower down through your push-up. Inhale through cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, push all the way up and back into downward facing dog. We'll hold for 5 breaths. Maybe give your head a little rock. Yawn, open your jaw, make sure you're not clenching. Scanning the body, looking for any areas that we might be holding unnecessary tension. And then on an inhale, come up onto your toes, bend your knees, look between your hands and step to the front of your mat to forward folds. Place your hands on your shins or just above your knees to push up to flat back. Opening up the chest here, the spine is long. And lowering all the way back down to the mat into forward fold. Begin to lower your bum down and back as your arms sweep up overhead into our final chair pose. Hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come up to stand, palms touch, exhale, palms down to heart center. Take 2 deep breaths here. At the top of your mat, take a just over hips width apart. I'm going to turn to face the camera. We're coming into Malasana, or the yogi squat, which we have done before. Your toes will come out about 10 and 2. Again, just past hip width. If you have tight hip flexors, or maybe your glutes are pretty tight, or hamstrings, you can either roll up the mat to lift your heels, because we want our feet planted on the mat the whole time. Or you can put some pillows down that kind of rest your bum on, because we're going to come down all the way here. So if you're really tilting up, then either just don't come as far into the squat, because you want to try to keep the chest as relatively open and up as possible. Or if your heels are coming up, then you can place a pillow or roll the mat up to lift the floor up to you. So we'll all start in our standing position, just past hips width, palms up prayer and heart center, and gazes forward, and slowly begin to lower down. And you can press your elbows into your knees to get a deeper stretch, but again, just trying to keep the chest upright. We'll hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll slowly rise for a count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We'll come into that one more time, this time for a count of 5. So slowly lower it down for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're coming back up for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Back up at the top of our mat, coming through our final sun salutation. Sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Let it go, let your head hang heavy here. Inhale to flat back. Exhale back to that forward fold. Plant the palms, step your feet back to high plank, high push-up. Option to come down to your knees. Shift the weight forward into your hands. Slowly lower down through your push-up. Inhale through the back bend of your choice. Exhale, our final downward facing dog. Take 2 more breaths here. Nice, deep, relaxing breaths. And then on your final exhale,
Take a deep inhale through your nose and then exhale, side out through your mouth. Come up onto your toes, bend your knees, look between your hands and step to the front of your mat into forward folds. Inhale through your flat back. And this time exhale again through your mouth, let it go. All the way down into our forward folds. With a slight bend in your knees, slowly ragdoll up to a standing position. Head comes up last. Palms open up to the front of the room. Chest is nice and broad here. Take 2 more breaths in Tadasana. We'll all meet in a tabletop position in the center of our mat. And we'll come into lizard, which again we have done before. So in lizard, our right leg, we'll start with our right side. So right leg comes up on the outside of right hand. And then the back leg will be extended out long. So we're getting a nice stretch through the left hip flexor. And then begin to open up the right leg to the right side wall so that the bottom of your foot lifts up. And then we're getting a nice stretch through the right hip flexor as well. So the side of the right, the front of the left. So I'll turn to face the camera so you can see kind of what I mean. So this is going to open up here. And then you can stay up tall on your hands, or if you have the flexibility and would like to go deeper, you can come down onto your forearms. Slowly push all the way up. Draw your left knee back up to the middle. Right knee meets left, and we'll switch sides. So left foot comes up to left hand. Right leg extends out behind. And then begin to open up your left knee to the side wall. Again, option to lower down. Push your weight back up, closing your left foot back down to the mat. Left knee meets right in tabletop. And then send your hips back into either the closed knee or open knee, child's pose. Push back up to tabletop, and then we'll all make our way onto our back to come into figure 4. So knees are bent, feet flat on the mat. Lift your right foot up towards the ceiling, and then cross your right ankle over left knee. You can either draw your left foot in a little bit closer towards your bum, and this might give you a good enough stretch here. Or you can wrap your hands around the back of your thigh or the front of your knee. Make sure that whichever position you choose, that your hips stay level on the mat. You're not rocking to one side or the other, and that you're not having to basically come up into a crunch to get into one of those variations. So choose the variation that allows you to relax, but still feel a good stretch. Keep your legs where they are, but let your hands come down to your side, either in a T or cactus position, and then lower your right foot over to the left side to come into a figure 4 twist. Your gaze can be over your left hand up at the ceiling, or to deepen the twist a little bit more, you can turn your head to the right. Return your head back to center and your knees back to center. Uncross and switch sides. So left foot lifts up towards the ceiling, cross left ankle over right knee, and then again choosing the variation that's best for you. Make sure to keep your left foot flexed. And leave your legs where they are, but open your hands up either to T or cactus. And slowly lower your left foot to the right side to come into a figure 4 twist on this side. Again, choosing the head placement, your choice. Take one final inhale and exhale. Draw your head back to center, your knees back to center. Hug your knees into your chest. Give a little rock side to side, or maybe some circles with your knees. And then after taking any needed movements, extend your legs out long. Your arms will come down by your sides, palms facing open. Back into Shavasana, our final resting pose. Maybe noticing how your body feels now compared to the beginning of class. Try doing a second quick head to toe scan. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that you have a great rest of your